I did want to work through some of the problems in the can I afford to buy that house problem set. Some of you have already turned these in, and most of you did a pretty good job on most of them, but I do want to go over these. I sent some of them back to you that you need to redo some of your work, but let's just go over these things. So if we start with problem number 1, pretty simple calculation. We're really trying to figure out how much of a house payment that Laura can afford at $3,500 a month. And the magic number is 22%. So we need to take 22% of her salary every month. So if we take $3,500 times 0.22, that's going to tell us the size of the house payment that she can have each month. If we go down to problem number 2, very similar problem. All right, he earns $72,000 per year, but we want to know what his upper limit is for monthly house payment. Well, we have to change this $72,000 a year. We need to divide that by 12 in order to find out how much he makes per month. Once we find out what that per month total is, we need to multiply it times, again, 22%, which is 0.22. And that's going to tell us what the house payment that he can afford every year is going to be. If we go down and look at problem number 3, we get a little bit more information. April wants to buy a house for $180,000, and it tells what her monthly cost is. So it's $55, $220 in property tax, $1,050 interest on the loan, and a payment of the principal of $100. Her gross pay every month is $2,100 each month. And they want to know, did she keep her loan within the financial safety limit for home loans? In other words, she can afford a home that's 22% of her monthly gross. All right, well, if you multiply 22% of $2,100, that comes up to a monthly payment of $462. That's what she can afford based on her salary. Well, if you look, her total monthly payment is going to be way over that because the interest itself on this loan is $1,050. So there's no way. So the answer is no, she did not stay within the framework. All right, what I'd like to do now is to go over the level 2 problems that you've been given in the Can I Buy That House problem set. So if we go to problem number 1 in the level 2 problems, it says Lauren wants to buy a home, $220,000 loan, and she's been told that that's going to be 0.5% of the total loan amount. Well, we need to take $220,000 and multiply that times 0.5%. But I think several of you that I've seen having difficulty with this problem is what is 0.5% as a decimal? Well, let's start by writing 0.5% as 0.5%, which is the same thing as 0.5%. We still need to move that decimal to the left 2 places. So that is actually 0.005. So if you're going to take $220,000 times 0.005, that will get you your answer. If we go down and look at problem number 2 in the level 2 problems, you notice that Warren said he really wants to buy a house whose price is above his 22% of his gross salary. The house payment would be $1,800, and he wants to know how much, what percentage above his gross monthly salary is the $1,800 house payment. Well, his gross salary to start with annually is $63,000. So we want to divide that by 12 to come up with his monthly salary. And once we find that, then we can take this $1,800 payment and divide it by his monthly salary. That will give us a decimal answer that we need to change to a percent. So you should have your answer there. Round it to the nearest percent. Problem number 3, which is the last level 2 problem. Rachel has an interest-only loan for $140,000 at 9%. And you want to know exactly what her monthly loan payment would be. Well, if you take $140,000 times 0.09, that's going to tell you what your annual interest rate or interest is going to be on that loan. If you take that annual interest that you're going to pay and divide it by 12, that will tell you what your monthly interest is going to be. And really, since it's a interest-only loan, that is what your payment would be. So again, just take the annual total interest divided by 12, and that tells you what your monthly interest is going to be.